Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
Hey, Tom. Good morning. Happy Monday.
Good morning to you. How are you today, Bob?
We have a different look. I'm going to change that.
Yes.
Oh, there you go. Look at that. Tom's feeling a little out of sorts this morning because apparently you are not the Starbucks barista that you thought you were. Explain to us real quick what happened, Tom, because, it's good for us to get a little insight into the Tom Brush world.
So the coffee maker that we have typically has no issues. I get up, get it going, it's all set. For some reason this morning, the drip didn't want to hit the pot. So it started. Fortunately, I caught it before it was all over the place, and yet that still made kind of a mess that slowed me down in my morning activities. So that's all.
Wow. Exciting stuff. It's funny. Last week I had some plumbing difficulties. The latch you press down to make the toilet do its thing, just broke inside the bowl. Just totally broke. I'm like, this is not right. This shouldn't have happened. So at about 7:05 last Monday morning, when it was pouring rain, I went to the local hardware store to get a replacement and fix it. And so I understand your frustration. It's funny how these unexpected non-business things can really mess with your day.
There's no
I know
doubt.
I was in the zone Monday morning, got out of the shower, ready to do this program, everything rolling along, and then boom, toilet trouble.
Yeah, not good.
And so I understand what you might be going through. So this week, Tom, we are talking about empowering, with a big R, capital R, empowering others. You don't like that? No.
I don't mind it. Whatever that was you did at the end was a little odd. If that's all right.
We've been talking about the R, which is the part that makes you real, that makes you unique, that makes you able to carve your own path. And that R is, as Tom so eloquently crafted the formula, R equals knowledge plus experience plus perspective. And as we talked last week, it's not just your knowledge, experience, and perspective, but it's the other person, the person you're trying to serve. When those two things come together, boom, we have opportunity because you're in sync. Not to bring up 90s boy bands, but if you can, you do.
Okay.
So this week we're going to talk about how to help other people understand and share your R. Because if they can share your R, your spider web gets much bigger. Tom has referred a number of people to me over the years, and I've referred people to him over the years. And by doing that, I can only run into so many people in a week. Tom sees a different set of people, and those people may be ideal for me, or the people I talk to may be ideal for him. And I think one thing that we often fall into the trap of, Tom, is when we're networking, we're solely focused on ourselves. You see it so often when you're out networking or even a Zoom call networking, the person's like, well, I do this, I do this, I do this. When I'm networking, I'm trying to help as many people as I can. I would love nothing more than to meet someone who can help you or Tim or whoever else, or vice versa. I'm not looking at solely for me because I believe that if I help everyone, it's going to come back to me. So what are your thoughts on all this, Tom?
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think the one thing about it is I was thinking about it a little differently, actually. Just slightly differently, is that, when we talk about what we do, sometimes it's really hard for others to understand that and to really be able to then go out and be an advocate for us, as you say. So one thing is, empowering others is helping them. But the other way is, how do we have the right language so that someone else can take that language and understand who might be someone to connect us with. One of the things I usually like to ask people that I meet, and we did this in one of our networking events, is like, what would people say that you serve? So that when I hear that, I'd be like, I need to direct them to Joe, or I need to direct them to Bob, or I need to direct them to Jane, because now I hear exactly what it is. And I think so often that when we only talk about what we do, sometimes it's really hard to get a mental picture in your head of like, okay, who is that? Who is that person? And I think that's sometimes the challenge. Like, okay, I'm an insurance person. All right, great. Or I'm an accountant or a bookkeeper. Okay, I understand that you're a bookkeeper and you can do all these different things and whatever, but how do I know when somebody I'm talking to is the right person for you? And I think to me, that's what empowering others is making sure that others have an understanding of the language of our best client, our ideal avatar, if you want to use that. So when that happens, they're like, I know just who you're talking about. Or when you're sharing it, I can think of a specific person who might need that, rather than just telling me what you do. And I'm like, I don't even know who that could be. And the kicker is when you say, well, I can work with anyone. I don't know anyone. I know specific people who have specific needs. So I think, better understanding exactly someone specific that you could work with and what they actually would say. Because if you're on a Zoom call, because we're not having holiday gatherings, if you were with your family and you were talking about things and somebody said, yeah, you know what, I had a plumbing issue and here's what it was. Well, if somebody says they're a plumber, but they really do commercial and they don't do like little home projects, you might call them up and say, hey, you know what, I know you're a plumber. My sister has got a broken toilet. They'd be like, yeah, that's not really who I work with. Right. Oh, okay. I'll move on. If someone was saying, I come in and do like all the little fix-it things, when your toilet breaks and you don't know what to do, I'm that person to help. When I guess your coffee pot is probably a little bit of a small thing, but when the coffee pot runs over, who can help me solve that problem? And to me, when I look at, that's a way that I look at as how do we empower others to support the work that we do? It's kind of like a referral partner, sort of.
Right, but I think it's more loose than that.
Correct.
And it suggests, and this is the part that I think I've really realized in the last couple of years, is to have people that can understand how you can help other people, you have to be incredibly specific with examples, not just I help companies with leadership issues. I help companies with employee issues. That's not a bucket. I help companies with these specific things. Communication among their employees, new leadership trying to figure out how to lead better, change among staff, those types of things as you get more granular, but even that's vague.
It's too, right. As you were saying that, I was like, yeah, everybody has those issues.
Right, and that's the problem. But if I say to you, Tom, I worked with the library system that was really struggling with a new leader who was coming in making a lot of changes, and employees felt really uncomfortable with the shift because there's this new person telling them what to do, and they like the old way. Really? And then the question I always get when I give that example is, okay, what did you do? So, because that's where the opportunity is. Well, I helped them figure out that, that they really had a shared mission. It was coming at from different sides, and that a lot of these changes were normal changes that you have to go through to be successful. Yeah. Oh, wow. So you help them understand change. Exactly. And often I think it's when the other person puts words to what you've just described, that's when it becomes real to them.
Well, and it becomes easier for people to understand that you're the right person for them. When I shifted from talking about, well, I help nonprofits with their fundraising. Everybody needs help with their fundraising. But when I went to, have you heard a nonprofit talk about they're just tired because the event that they had didn't raise as much money as they thought it would? that's something that, you know, people will talk to people in nonprofits, but yeah, we just had this big gala and didn't raise enough as we want. Oh, maybe you ought to talk to Tom about that. And I think that's, you know, that's how you get, and maybe we're getting too deep in this for just explaining of what it is. And that to me, I think is helping people better be clear on, you know, what you do. So if you had an owner who said, yeah, I've got this new leader and they just haven't gelled, you know, the team isn't quite working as well as I thought. We promoted this person and they're just not, they're great. And how do I clear this up? You know, those, it's like when we get to that level, now I know exactly what your problem is and who's somebody who might be able to solve that because they've shared with me those words.
I think it also is an issue of recognizing that we can't do this all, as we've been talking the last couple of weeks, we can't do this all with what you accurately described as advertising. That shout from the rooftops, I'm Bob, I do these things. No one cares. Everyone's going about their life. So part of this is recognizing that to be effective as a leader, as a business owner, as an employee, you've got to be able to articulate what it is you do and where you fit into other people's lives. I think that's the big shift that I had to go through was I really felt like I could just create this thing and the world would find it. Now I realize I create this thing and I hate to say it, but it's reinvented with every customer. You know, because what I do for you, and we help each other, we work with each other, we could certainly charge each other if we chose. What I do for you is unique to Tom. Now, some of the skills I use are very similar, but the way I do it for you is different than I do it for anyone else. And I think as we start to think about that idea, I didn't think of the word reinvention, but we really do reinvent. We build on what we have to tailor it to a person. And then the next person gets the benefit of that, or we reinvent it a different way.
Well, because what we've done is we've gained new knowledge or experience or perspective. So it's what's real for me. What's real for me is going to be different than what's real for somebody else. Even for your situation with a plumber is going to walk in and what is real with your situation, with your toilet, is likely going to be different, not always, than what's real for somebody else. You know, they've got a different brand. They've got it broke in a different place. You know, and I think that's the thing is that we can't always just go in with a cookie cutter approach and be like, okay, we got to do this, always, every time. Because that's not always going to work. You know, when you're dealing with employees, every employee is different. When you're dealing with events at an organization, every event is different. Every event is unique. And so we have to sort of target on and better understand what is real about the situation and how do we then make that change or engage them to change what their knowledge, experience, and perspective is so that their new reality is something else.
What's getting cooked for breakfast this morning, Tom?
Nothing, just some shifting of dishes.
Oh, okay.
Take care of the coffee.
Okay, I thought there was some breakfast. I had breakfast myself. I was like, you know, if there's bacon, sausage, a little scrapple, like my breakfast meat.
Okay.
Yeah. So
that's good to know. So when we're going for breakfast, we'll have to go to a place that has really good breakfast meat. That's yes. Sort of it, you know, is that you shared something about what's real for you. So for us to go to a place if we're going out to breakfast that's vegetarian, I would not have been listening to what the reality is and not what you are looking for. So if we're trying to solve that problem of breakfast, the problem is, okay, I know that he likes his breakfast meats. Great. We need to find a place where that is going to be offered. And probably if they have Scrabble, that's even better.
Right. And building that relationship, because it's funny, that's a great example, Tom, because that's so not about the work you and I do. But if you said, hey, Bob, let's go get breakfast, and you said, I know this great place that has the best sausage in the world, I wouldn't even remember that I told you I like breakfast meat. It would just mean I would walk in there like, I can't wait. This is awesome. I'm so happy Tom told me about this. And from there, we build that relationship because you're paying attention to me. And I may not even remember it. What's Tim saying? Bob is distracted by the sounds. I'm distracted by the chicken on the pig on the cow. It's the picture behind you, I think.
Yes, yeah, he's mentioned that before. This, I'm in that office space shuffle, so
yes,
where I am, so, in the kitchen.
Hey. So, Tom, as we get to the end of today's episode, and I should say we have a lot of new listeners, watchers today because we did some expanded sharing of this to new groups. If you've never been here before, we do this every morning around 8 a.m. Eastern time as we try to figure out that one thing, that one little thing. We're not talking about going from A to Z. We're talking about the one thing to get you from A to B. So, Tom, today we call it today's antidote. What is today's antidote in your mind for us here on this whole issue of empowering others? Whew.
Yeah, I think the one thing is that the better we understand the language of our clients and share that, the more likely we are then empowering them to help us in some way. They now have a better understanding of who it is that we might be able to help. So my one antidote would be make sure you're really clear on the language of your clients. That's going to help you. And when you share that with others, it's going to make them more effective, and you have empowered them to be more helpful for you and what you're trying to accomplish.
If you are struggling with that idea of what the right language is to deal with your customer, believe me, you are so not alone. It's a struggle that Tom and I have been through separately and together. It's a struggle that a lot of the people we've worked with have been through. Finding that right language takes some work and some effort, and often it's not something they teach you in school. You have to figure it out the hard way. If that's something that you've struggled with or something that you don't feel confident in, please contact Tom and me. Tom, we're still doing those free laser solution sessions, aren't we?
Yes, for new members.
I thought so. If you're new to this, you can do a free laser solution session with us. It's a 15 to 20-minute session. You'll say, oh, you can't accomplish anything in that time. You'd be amazed what we can do in that time. If you come ready to have an open and honest discussion, you will walk away with from that with an incredible opportunity and some clarity about your next step. So with that, Tom, you want to wrap things up?
Absolutely. So again, thanks for joining us. As Bob said, if you're not a member of the Ring of Renegades Facebook group, just go to Ring of Renegades on Facebook, and you can be part of other discussions like this. I'd actually love to hear people post what is something that your ideal client would say. I think that'd be a great way for others to start, for people to help empower others in the group to be supportive of one another. So just share what's something that your ideal client would say. I think it'd be a great conversation to get started and better for people to understand. As Bob mentioned, we will also be back here every day, 8 a.m. Eastern. One of the things that we're going to do.
I was going to say, I got a great comment from Tim. I'm going to jump in. Tim said the laser solution sessions are really amazing. Take advantage of this offer. Now, to my knowledge, you didn't pay Tim for that. I didn't pay Tim for that.
No, he was making up for making a comment about my picture in the background.
Could be.
Could be. All right, everyone. So one of the things I want to share, Bob and I have decided that we know this is one of the issues that people deal with is what is the language around their clients. And I think the other thing is that in this year, that language has changed. Things have happened in 2020 where I think our ideal clients have morphed or modified, or what is real for them is a little bit different. And there are other challenges that go along with that, along understanding what's real for our clients and for us. And so we are going to, at the end of the year, here's a little promotion. We are going to put together a new workshop that is going to be December 28th through the 31st. We'll have a link available shortly. There'll be an event page in the Ring of Renegades where you can come and chart your destination and create some clarity around your audience, the message you have, and the marketing that you do around that. So we'll have more information about that as the week goes along, but we wanted to get that on your calendars, 9 a.m. Eastern. on December 28, 29, 30, and 31. And we'll
and
have
if you can't be at one of those, there will be a replay. So you're not locked down to those 4 days, but we encourage you to be there live because that's where the action's going to happen.
Absolutely. So everybody, I hope you go out and have a great day. We will see you inside the Ring of Renegades Facebook group, or we'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Time for the next edition of today's Antidote. Take care.
Carving your own path is tough. You want and need a community to offer you insights and advice, share inspiration, provide support, and save you time and money. But where do you find all that? Here's the easy answer: the Ring of Renegades Facebook group, where leaders, entrepreneurs, and business owners identify their next steps. Here's some of what you will find at the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. Just go to ringofrenegades.com and join today. Find and accomplish those next steps.